So I want to tell you a story about a young man named Jimmy, and I've changed the name obviously to protect his identity. It was a situation where Jimmy became homeless, and it was largely not to anything that he'd done. He was living with his mom and his mom's boyfriend in a home where they were boarders, and so they were living with an existing family. And that family themselves were challenged with some medical issues. And while they were in that home, there became a conflict between mom's boyfriend and the homeowner. And so what ensued was it really got out of control and the police had to be called. And the boyfriend, that was Jimmy's mother's boyfriend, actually assaulted somebody. And so the police came and removed him and the mother from the home. So when I got the text and responded, what I was responding to was basically a 16-year-old and his younger girlfriend, who was 15, living in his home with these other people, while mom and the boyfriend took a tent and moved to the woods. And so when we tried to get some pieces in place for mom and boyfriend, we would have government employees, not saying which department, would say, well, they need to call and then book an appointment. Well, mom was challenged because mom had hearing problems, vision problems, and mobility problems, and she was in the woods with no phone. So there was no way mom was making a call, let alone get from the woods to the government office. When I got on the scene with the young man and his girlfriend, both of which were minors, the crazy thing was the SPCA were already at the home and had taken 19 cats that were running wild and all over the home. And they were protected, but it seemed that child protection and the police, their hands were tied, and the young man and the girl were still left in the home. In fact, left in the home for 3 or 4 days, as I made a deal with the landlord that we would work with them to get them out of there and into safe housing. Well, because there's no youth shelter in the Annapolis Valley, there was no safe housing. And so that sad day I had to collect a tent and sleeping bags and bring the 16-year-old and his younger girlfriend and their dog and 2 rabbits and 2 cats into the woods to camp beside their mom, or his mom, and her boyfriend. So then began the hard work of finding the whole family a place to live, and how they were going to sustain themselves in the woods in October with the rain and potentially even colder weather coming. This young man, Jimmy, was very resilient in that he was hunting rabbits and also fishing to feed his family. And in fact, then when we got together with community services and made a plan, we did eventually get them out of there, out of the woods and into a home, and could then begin looking at other supports and other things that the family needed, especially Jimmy and the young girlfriend, who were in need of an education as well as good health care, but also and mostly a safe place to live and food in their belly. Yeah, that's one of the stories, the crazy stories here in the Annapolis Valley.